It's really fall outside. I really wasn't ready. It really snuck up on me, but fall palettes are gorgeous. Ashleigh, welcome on back to my channel. So today I am discussing 10 palettes that are great for fall. So if you're new to this channel, welcome, and if you're oldie but goodie, welcome on back. My name is Ashleigh. I have a doctorate in pharmacy, and that's how you get Dr. Ash in her makeup, because I love makeup. Eyeshadow really is my jam. It's one of my favorite things to talk about, but please just call me Ash or Ashleigh. So today I am talking about 10 palettes that are great for fall. So I did do this video last year, and there is only one repeat. Not that I don't think that the other palettes I talked about last year are great for fall, but you know, you acquire some new things in your collection. You're like, yes, like I need to make sure I use these palettes during the season. So maybe you have some of these palettes, maybe you don't. Maybe, you know, you might want to check them out. This is not meant for you to purchase anything, but I thought that these palettes were really great for the fall. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into these palettes. They are in no order whatsoever. And I'm looking at the palettes. Basically, all the palettes I have a video on, including this eye look. So I'll tell you what I use. So this video should be coming up after that video. But everything except for one I have a video up on. So if you're looking for any inspiration, you can always go back to that video. So I'm not going to take them in any type of order. I'm just going to go ahead, grab from the palette that I got right here, and talk about these palettes. So actually the first palette that I have right here is actually a repeat from last year, but it is actually so good. This color story is amazing. It's beautiful. I think a lot of people can get behind the color story, and this is the Sigma Beauty Untamed palette. Like, such a gorgeous palette. Do you see this? Like, how does this not scream fall? You have blues, you have greens, you have your mustards, you have your terracottas, your burgundies, a little champagne, a black. And the formula is amazing. You can get so many looks in here. It screams fall, but it also screams every day. And then it's not too intimidating. So if you're somebody who wants to kind of dip into color, but is kind of scared of color, I feel like this palette is a great option for you. The Sigma Beauty formula is actually outstanding. This was my first time trying the Sigma Beauty formula. I had used their brushes in the past, but you know, like you see certain palettes and they're like, oh, those are gorgeous, but you just can't really justify buying them because you have so many palettes. So when I saw this palette, I just knew that I had to have it, because this shade, it just screamed to me so much. So this is definitely a palette that I will be putting in my rotation. You get so many beautiful looks. You have so many distinct color stories just right there where you don't really have to think about it. You have a little pop of blue, pop of purple. You got your dark black to brighten. You got your dark black to deepen things up, also with this bold shade, so you can kind of lighten some looks up. And I just think it's such a great palette and definitely should be used during the fall season. I did also check, and this palette is still available. The next palette that I think is so appropriate for fall, and I have so many palettes by this particular brand, so a lot of palettes could fall in the category, but I picked this one, and it's called Fairy Frolic, and this is by A.L.I.E.N Cosmetics. I actually have the older palette with the older packaging, but they did just revamp the packaging and I believe possibly the formula, and it is one of their staple palettes, and you can get it on the website as of right now. And look at this deep, grungy, gorgeous color story. It has some nice pops of greens. You have your mustards, you got your burgundies, you got rose gold, you got a little purple, you got a bronzy gold that I love so much. And the shimmers are just so beautiful. You have great dual chromes, you have those wet looking shimmers, and the shades are just so beautiful. The mattes are great as well. I love this little mustard shade. Basically anything that has a mustard in it, I'm like pretty much for it, especially if it shows up like a mustard on my skin complexion. I'm like, yes, come to me, come to me. So I feel like this palette is perfect. You get so many wearable looks, especially with having the rose gold and this particular bronzy gold. And most people are kind of keen to the mauve look, so that can work out nice. And then this purple is beautiful as well. And then you do have fun pops of green if you want to just go ahead and amp up the look. So I love this palette. This was definitely one of the first. Well, I got the holiday palette by A.L.I.E.N first, but this was just like a great find, and I've been enjoying A.L.I.E.N Cosmetics all of 2021. Another palette that I have is super affordable, and this one, it was just like, it kind of took me by storm, and it just made me look at this brand in another light, and I was like, okay, y'all are really coming through with these eyeshadows. And this right here is the BH Cosmetics Avocado Toast palette. Like, I mean, can you get any more prettier? This palette is definitely for the person who loves green shades, but this palette is not so overly green. It has a bit of neutral to it. It has a bit of grunginess to it. I love some grungy shadows, but I feel like you can get daytime appropriate looks. You can also get evening time appropriate looks, and it's affordable. I think this palette costs no more than like $15, maybe $18. There's always a sale with BH Cosmetics, and I mean, this formula was so good. So it just lets me know that you can make great eyeshadow without having to spend a lot of money or to charge your customers a lot of money. And BH, they have really stepped up their game, because I mean, back in the past, if I saw a palette from BH Cosmetics, I was like, all right, next. But the shimmers are really great. You have great pops of green in here, and then also tones to make it neutral, or tones to just make an overall green look. So I really enjoy this palette, and I feel like it's an overall vibe, and it could be definitely be a great palette to use for fall. And then this rose gold shade, Expensive, it's so beautiful. So definitely been loving this palette, and I was like pulling it out, definitely reminding myself to use some of these palettes. I do a really good job of rotating my palettes throughout the week when I go to work. I don't always put it on Instagram, because sometimes when you do those looks for yourself, it's just like, it's for yourself. It's just those little moments that you get to steal, and you get to play with eyeshadow. And I love presenting everything to you guys, but sometimes I'm just such in a rush and I can't do it. But I'm like, oh, the end result is remarkable. And it's just like my little bit of me time, you know? So another palette that makes me happy that I have recently picked up, and it also makes me happy because this is a brand that basically I started with when it came to makeup, and this is MAC Cosmetics. Oh my gosh. This is the Feast Your Eyes eyeshadow palette that came in the Tempting Fate collection. When they released this collection, everyone was just like, wait, stop, take a moment. I need to take a breath. I need to gather myself. MAC, is that you? Because MAC does a lot of collections, but lately they just really haven't been bringing that fire. They've been kind of lost out there. It's just been kind of like, oh, they were that brand. They used to have all the popping colors, the best formula, the best shade ranges, and they do still have that. But I don't know, with so many other makeup brands, sometimes they have not been that creative when you put them up against all the other brands. But this palette is gorgeous. I believe you can find this on Look Fantastic. You can find this maybe at Macy's. Parts of the collection are still around. This palette is gorgeous. Now it is a little bit on the smaller side, but I don't tend to mind that. It was around $48. I mean, this Baroque palette packaging it's wonderful. And then when you look on the inside, you have this gorgeous gold background, and then you also have these beautiful imprints in the shadows. Now I would say with this particular palette, if you are into this fall color story but you want something a little bit more muted, a little bit more, it's not so much it is muted, okay, but you're going to get very beautiful looks. Very beautiful looks, very effortless looks, very sparkly looks, but not overpowering. Something that you can still wear to work, transition to the day if you're not into such bold makeup like sometimes I am, like I'm wearing on my eyes at the moment. But you get very gorgeous looks, and I love it. I mean, the shades in here perform very well. This shade is so creamy, so metallic, so beautiful. And then the mattes are more like a cream to powder formulation. This shade right here is like the most perfect cognac shade. It doesn't appear to be so in the pan, but when you just put your finger in and swatch it, I mean, it's like, for the love of God, like, how did you guys get this to be so good? You could build them up. And I also feel like this palette will be great for people who have more maturing eyelids, because the formula is so smooth, it doesn't skip, and because of the cream to powder formulations, it's going to go on very effortlessly. You're not going to have any trouble blending. You're not going to see it in the little lines and the creases in your eyelids. I just think it's overall just such a well done palette. So this will definitely be out and about on my vanity. This is another palette that I'm pulling it in my collection, or in this stack of palettes, because it's definitely fall, but I've only used it like once, maybe twice. And I lied, I did not do a video. So it's like 2 palettes I did not do a video on. But I have used this technically on camera. I think I actually used this at the top of the year when Yachty Beauty had her 1,000 subscriber party, and we did a live. And this is actually the Lethal Cosmetics Velvet Dusk Pressed Powder Palette. I mean, you see Lethal Cosmetics, and I was so interested in it, and then I saw this color story, and I was like, yes, please. It has that mustard. I told you, anything that has like a mustard, a teal, a rose gold. Look at this purple. Look at the eggplant, or kind of blurple shade. I am so here for it with the greens. Oh my goodness. And the formula is really nice with it. I would say the shimmers are not like the most opaque shimmers and the most the shiniest shimmers, but they do perform very well. The mattes, from what I remember, perform well as also. So I definitely am pulling this out because I want to remind myself to play with this palette. It's such a gorgeous palette. I feel like you can get a lot of everyday looks with it. You can get a lot of smoky looks with it. You got a little pop of lime green, so that really intrigues me. So I definitely pulled this out because it's like, it's fall. I need to be using this palette. It is a gorgeous palette, and I definitely, even though I have a lot of eyeshadow, I have so much fun playing in my palettes. You guys just don't even understand. A palette that has stolen my heart, and this brand is new to me as of 2021. It was definitely on my radar of wish of palettes that I wanted to, or wish of brands actually, that I wanted to experience in the year of actually 2020, but I think 2021 is actually when I started experiencing this brand, and it's Adept Cosmetics, and this is the Kodane palette. Honey, I love this palette. I think I like this palette more, well, not I think, I know I like this palette more than Kodane. No, I know I like this palette more than the Hydrant. The Hydrant is gorgeous, but Kodane is just like, honey, it's grungy, it's giving me all the vibes. I mean, and look at these 2 mattes. Like, you could just take some looks and go out there with them. This lime green, this particular shade is just, it's so good. This, so good. They're creamy. I mean, effortless, okay? The shimmers are amazing. I love it. This is definitely a deep, crunchy story. This story, you can't really get a lot of, you know, neutral looks. I mean, you got these 2, but with the matte situation, unless you just go in with your own mattes. Now, the only downfall with this palette, I do feel like these 2 shades are just too much alike, and they read the same on the eyes. So I wish there was something different, but overall, I'm in love with this palette. I think it is simply stunning and a great palette to pull out for fall. Another palette that I love so much, and you know, I have found this brand in 2021, and it is just, woo, it stole my heart. And this palette is by the Glam Shop, and this is the Camo Glam palette. It is another green palette, but let me tell you, oh my gosh, I mean, can you even? If you love greens and you want something a little bit more muted, something more, maybe a little bit more work appropriate, you can wear that with this palette. And then you also have the bold shades, because these 2 shades are actually marble shades, and that is what is so good about the Glam Shop. When it comes to the Glam Shop, if you want to try all their different finishes, you can just get a palette that is already curated, and you can try all their different finishes of eyeshadows. I mean, maybe not all in one palette, but you look. Okay, so the shade Mural right here is actually a marble shade, and oh my gosh. So I'm lightly putting my finger in, and honey, I mean, can we talk? Can we talk? Can we talk? I'm sounding like Tevin Campbell right now. Honey, I love that song, Tevin Campbell. But this is one of their marble shades, and all you need is just a little bit in the shine, honey. Like, where are you getting this shine from? Come through. It is glam, honey. This is glamorous. This is grungy. It's green. It's glamorous. So good. And then the shade right here, that's also a marble shade, Kosari. Amazing as well. I have so many favorite shimmers in here. I mean, can you even? This is a more bronzy shade. Look. Y'all know I love some green shadow, hence my eye look. This shade at the top, oh my gosh. When I say, do you see that duochrome flip? I love the Glam Shop. And they're pretty affordable. They are not expensive. I think this is about 19 euros. So in American dollars, depending on the exchange rate, about $20, but the quality is phenomenal. Like, definitely have a video on this. Amazing. Amazing. Will be on my vanity for the fall. This palette right here, I had to look at it, I was like, oh. This one I was like, I could have been a little salty over it. I was slightly salty, okay, because this palette used to be on sale for $25. This palette, I've also talked about that it needs to come back when I talk about my 7 limited edition palettes that need to come back. I don't understand why this palette's not around, but I found this on Mercari. Pat McGrath Platinum Bronze. This is a subliminal palette, and I never picked this palette up because I was like, it's so cool tone. That's not really my color story, okay? And the palette was on sale for $25, and I missed it, and it was gone, and I got it off of Mercari, okay? And I got it brand new, so I actually paid the full retail price of $50, but honey, I'm sorry. Can you even? I mean, we're talking about gorgeous color story right here. Now I appreciate it. I think a few things had to come out. I've had to experience a few things to appreciate it, you know, and it is a gorgeous color story, and this is something that is going to translate well on so many different skin complexions and so many moods. Like if you are just a neutral lover, then this is a perfect palette for you. And I feel like it is great for the fall. It's a little deep, it's grungy, it's romantic, it is gorgeous. You can wear it to work, you can wear it on the night on the town, you can wear it on in between special occasions. I think it's so beautiful, and I'm like, yes, I need to play with it more. Yeah. Next up, this is a new palette, and this is really pretty. I know sometimes I can talk on here and I'm like, I'm so tired of pink shadows, and I really am tired of pink shadows, especially when Pat McGrath makes a lot of pink shadows. But this palette right here is gorgeous, and it's romantic, and yes, it's burgundy, but the shadows are so good. It has some grunginess to it. I have been playing with this palette nonstop basically since I got it. In the shade Apart right here and Andy, I pair these with my shimmer palettes, even though it has gorgeous shimmers in here, but I am living for these mattes in here because, I mean, honestly, Natasha Denona, she has great mattes. And then we have the shade Jude. I mean, you can get some really great fall berry tone looks when it comes to this palette. I mean, it's neutral. You can wear it to work. You can wear it out. You can do anything you want with this palette, and it is gorgeous. The formula is like chef's kiss. Like I said, when it came to the MAC palette, if your eyelids are a little bit more mature, I feel like this is going to look great on you also because they're not going to skip. It's not going to hang in spots where you might have more lines. The cream to powder formulation is great. If you're not experienced on blending out deep dark colors, this is going to be great for you. I feel like it's the perfect size because it's the $65 palette. Now, there are a couple of repeat shades, but overall, this is a gorgeous palette for fall. I mean, everybody loves a berry tone when it comes to fall, so how could you deny this one? And the newest palette to my collection, and where I created this look from today that I'm absolutely in love with, is the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Surge palette. I mean, this palette is making me excited about makeup. So this is a little tangent, but this palette right here and the Oden's Eye collection, the Diversa collection with Tina the Fancy Face, she is one of the reasons why I even started the channel. She's a girl in science and the STEM programs. We're basically the same age. I think I might be a year younger than her. And she was just one of my first YouTubers that I found, and I was like, yes. So big kudos to her. I can't wait to get that collection. So her palette, Annette's Makeup Corner palette, and I really like Judy's palette, but I couldn't justify purchasing it. And this palette right here in the Pat McGrath Celestial Odyssey collection has just made me excited about makeup. And this palette, it like kicked it off. Like, you cannot tell, honey, like they say, fall makeup is about to be lit. It is lit. Do you see this? Do you see this? And then they added a row of shimmers, and the shimmers are shimming like Beauty and the Frizz would say. They are gorgeous. They are creamy. They pack a punch. The mattes blend out like a dream. You don't have any trouble. You can create a gradient. You can get that nice little pop of color. It has the pastel range, so you can kind of transition, and then it also has these neons, and the neons you do not have to be scared of, because this neon green right here is actually the green that I have on my lids. And if I put a white base on, it would show up even brighter. But I mean, you cannot tell me this look is not blended to okay, maybe not on this side right here, because I don't know, that's me, but over here, you cannot tell me that this look is not blended to perfection, honey. Blends, okay? Because these shadows are blending theyself, okay? They are right. Blends Bunny, the Surge palette. It is fall goodness, honey. Yes. Hello. Making me excited about the grungy makeup. I live in Chicago, so we don't really get a whole lot of fall. So I like fall, but then I'm like, winter comes very quickly after that. So that's why fall can be a little scary for me. But this makeup is making me happy. So these are the palettes that I picked for 10 palettes that are great for fall makeup. And I mean, if you have them, great. And this is just like something for me to just kind of go back through my collection. Like, I haven't used this in a long time. I definitely haven't used this Lethal palette in a long time. I haven't used my Avocado Toast palette in a long time. I haven't used my Sing. I mean, at this point, I need to change eyeshadow looks every 3 hours. But this is besides the point. So I hope you guys can dig in your collection. Let me know what palettes you are loving for fall. I mean, like, these are the palettes I chose this particular year. I mean, there's still so many in my collection. But let me know down below in the comments. Give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, because I would love for you to be here in my little makeup family. You guys make me so happy. It is so much fun to come on here all the time. And with all of that being said, you already know how we end the videos around here. We gotta hit it with the cheddars, cheddars. Hey, 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 cheddars. 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 My arm is a little sore because I got a flu shot. Cheddars. 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 Hey. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.